said, we still have some people who are working on FreeDOS, and we have people that are releasing new programs, and new distributions. In fact, Jerome Shadell is one of our developers, and he does our distribution wrangling. He also, he wrote the FreeDOS installer. He completely updated the FreeDOS installer when he took on making the FreeDOS distribution. He also had this great idea that I loved, which is, rather than just make one release and that's all you get until the next big release comes out. Let's make something a little more frequent, because the problem is that FreeDOS, DOS stopped being a moving target in 1995, right? That's when Microsoft did what they had promised they were going to do, and we're going to get rid of DOS, and that was Windows 95, which it turns out was not a bad operating system. That's everything. There was a DOS built into Windows 95, and people talk about a DOS 7. It's not really a DOS 7, even though it's labeled that way. It's, DOS 6.2.2 was the last version of DOS. And so eventually you're going to reach compatibility with MS-DOS 6.2.2, and you don't really need to have as frequent of releases anymore. What you're getting with new releases is not really a new kernel, but because that hasn't changed in a while, but you're getting new programs and new versions of programs and things like that. And so we don't need to have a frequent release schedule like we used to have. It's not like, I run Fedora Linux, and there's a new version of that every 6 months, because a lot of stuff changes. So, Jerome realized that, we have a pretty slow release cycle, but we still do have other programs that are getting released. So what if we had this monthly release? And so he made this monthly release that if you're a FreeDOS developer, you can grab the monthly release and try it out. And my new program, does it work with, and that way, as people are releasing new versions, we can still see those new versions come up in those test releases. And then eventually we're going to get to a point where we're feeling like, what, this is a good place for this release, and we're gonna make that version a 1.2, for example. I mean, right now, I'm sorry, 1.3 right now. So we'll make a 1.4 or maybe a 2.0 at some point for FreeDOS, based off of that monthly release, because that's a great way to do it. And so that's one of the things that's happening today, is you get these new ways of looking at how we do development, and new ways to kind of push things forward. That's just one of the things I like seeing going on right now.